Welcome to Color Me Happy Community. My name is Brandy Hofer. I'm your host. Thank you so much for a little bit of your time today. You are so kind to listen and support our show. I truly appreciate it. Today on the show, we have Kaylin Butine. She is a fellow mother and artist, and I connect with her in so many different ways, and I love following her journey through social media as well as her community. And we talk about that on the show. We talk about how it all started and why. She started Artist Mother out of a desperate need for that community and support, and there's still a desperate need for that support and for women to work together. Some of my biggest advice, and what I talk about actually in my book a lot, is that it is so important to find a community where you fit. And that, of course, is different for everyone. But when you find lovely friends and beautiful people who lift you up and encourage you, you can go beyond what you have ever imagined for yourself. I have been fortunate enough to find many supportive communities with many creative friends. Of course, I'm a creative, so that's really important to me, as well as people who are going through the same things as me, like parenthood and motherhood. And we all support and encourage one another, and we're proud of one another's victories. The impact of community has altered my life in so many positive ways. It's really difficult to express everything here and now with you, but all I can tell you is this. Surround yourself with these people who will love and support you for who you are. Together, you will all do great things beyond even what you see in yourself today. That was kind of from my book. I changed it a little, but I'm really excited for that to come out. The format, it's in formatting, so it's coming out. But back to community. So Kaylin started the podcast, Artist Mother podcast, and then developed a community. And now, actually, since this podcast, since we recorded, I think, it's a few months now or more, they were teaming up with Thrive. And Thrive is another community, and so they've joined forces in a great community called, so they call it TTN, Thrive Together Network. So I took a little break in the summer from, because you can only be a part of so many things. And I'm back, and I think they took a little bit of a summer, like, they have art and teas, and they have residencies, and so they have a lot going on, and I encourage you to check it out. I'm also a part of a few other communities that I really love. The Art Queens and Milan Institute is a great one to check out as well. We also have our own community, the Color Me Happy community, and it's kind of just starting and growing. So you don't have to be just in one. That's for sure. I have lots of friends. We meet online or we meet in person, and I like to have community locally. I think that's really important so you can physically connect with people. But I also like finding women all across the world and seeing how I can connect and support them as well, because everyone has different things going on, and it can inspire you in different ways and different perspectives. And I think you can find that locally, but you can also find that, internationally, to see everyone's point of view and what's going on in the world. That's really important. So I'm going to let you dive in to this show. And again, we're heading to New York in September. So if any of you are in that area, please let me know. Please reach out. Please, if you have any questions about this episode, you can reach out to myself, or if you're interested in Kaylin's network, the Thrive Together network, you can reach out to her as well, or find them online. Google is very handy. So enjoy this episode, friends. Thanks for being here once again.
And thank you for coming on. I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. And yeah, it's been fun to see you on our network. So thanks for joining the network and being just a presence there.
Yeah, it's like, where do you fit? Probably in something called artist mother. Like the exact way you're described. Yeah, I don't know why. Um, so it's one of those things, it's one of those hangups. You're like, oh, like I have memberships, and like, how many memberships could I have? Like, how many book things could I pay for? How many? And then my studio manager said to me one day, she's like, you have to, first of all, it's not a lot. It's not a lot to be a part of your beautiful network at all. And like, it is.
Sorry, I think we're going to be interrupted.
That's okay.
I'm sorry, Brandy. What are you doing?
Go to sleep.
Okay. Can you give me like 3 minutes?
Of
I'm
course.
really
Yeah,
sorry.
you do it. No, no worries at all.
It's just, you know how.
Not working. I do know. Usually I would say, I'm so sorry that's happening to you, but I totally just know
Yes.
that it's just, we can't expect kids to be perfect sleepers because we're not perfect sleepers. It's an unrealistic, expectation, as much as it like would be nice. But like routine is important, and if it fits into your schedule, like that's how we as business owners and balancing that life, that's how we get the stuff done. So
Yeah, of
it's very
course.
important to stick to the routine.
Yep.
When someone tries to be like, well, you can do that, I'm like, nope, sorry. It's
I
like,
know, limited windows, limited
yeah,
windows.
I will not do it. Okay, yeah. So my studio manager said to me, she's like, you have to think about like when you're part of things, like not only will you be inspired and these are your people, but it's like, think of how much you would be spending if you were like networking and going out for dinners and going to these things. And I'm like, that would be a lot of, she's like, yeah, so just, I'm like, you know what? Yeah. And I decided to do Audible too, because books are just, they just change your life. Like
Hmm.
I like listening to motivational books, because they do. I really genuinely believe that they can change your whole entire life
Yeah, of course.
and just like pump you up, uh, even if you just listen a little bit every day. So,
Hmm.
okay, I want to talk about you. You are, you have three, just like me. And how old are they?
So I have a 9-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's two in school, you said.
My oldest, who we homeschooled until fourth grade, he's a very self-motivated, like independent learner, and honestly, he was like pretty easy to homeschool. And um, having two other kids, like homeschooling three kids, all who have different personalities, it was just not gonna work for us. So,
I just talked to
um,
Erica Lee Sears, and she had told me that you homeschooled, and I was like, what?
yeah, yeah, we did it up until last year. So,
Yeah. Because yeah, I feel like it would have been possible with two, but like three is just like, how?
no,
Like we can't even build a Lego right now without it getting
yeah,
fucked right up. Like it's
yeah.
just
I mean,
not.
I really think it's like you have to, as your kids get older, you really have to commit to it, and it's kind of like your job. And so
It's a
I
full
already
time
have a
job.
job and I want
Yeah.
to work, so I am not homeschooling anymore.
Yeah. I was like, how? I was like, I don't know how she's doing that. I
Yeah.
don't know. Because we had like the blip where we were, yeah, we were all all at home, and so school was canceled for basically the last half of Gus's kindergarten. So that was only one child having to
Hmm.
learn kindergarten, which is learning through play. So I was the master at learning through play. I was like, and it was warm out. So
Right.
basically, we have 56 kids in our neighborhood. Basically, it was just like track and field day every day and so many activities. I was like, I should be getting paid for this. But it was so much fun. But because the kids were stressed. The kids were so stressed. Like some of them had like weird tics and weird things. Like they could feel it too. Like to
Hmm.
count them out as feeling what's going on around the world, it's just not fair. So I was trying to distract them basically.
Yeah.
Be like, let's have fun. Let's like paint stuff.
Yeah.
So for you, artist mother, okay. So I had this terrible conversation, and this is why I reached out to you. I had a terrible conversation, unfortunately, with a female our age in the art industry. And I've started the conversation a little bit on social media, and they're like, people, how old is this person needs to like get with the times? I'm like, they are with the times. And I honestly think that they were honestly coming from a place in the art world because females are grossly unrepresented still to this day that we're sitting in after everything, like so grossly unrepresented. And I think it's like 16 to 20 still down there. I don't know if you know the statistics, but I think who Svetlana might have done a recent one, 20 to 22. Anyway,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Still way down there. And they told me basically that like I could be an influencer and maybe sell wine and diapers from my Instagram, but I should take the word artist off my website. And that I shouldn't try to sell art from social media. And because I include my kids in my process. So I'd love to hear your opinion about that.
I mean, first of all, whenever anybody gives unsolicited advice like that or opinions, I just think it's says a lot about that person. Like, let alone that the conversation is about being an artist who happens to have children, but just like I don't know, like right away I would have just probably not responded because that
It was
person
a meeting. So
okay.
yeah, I'm overly polite most of the time, so I did sit through it. And I think this person genuinely, and I can see it. I could see that opinion flying through the art world, and I can see it, and I think they were genuinely like, yeah, this is the way it is. And I'm like, it probably is in some people's minds. And I kept saying, I'm a part of like these great networks and these great groups of women trying to change these things in the art world, but they just weren't catching on. And so I want to ask you, when you started, first of all, why you felt the need to start Artist Mother, like getting that conversation going.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely been just about models for me, feeling like I wanted to be an artist because or I made the decision to be an artist rather because I wanted the lifestyle of an artist. I wanted, I'm a very like big picture type person. I'm always kind of thinking about the future and like what I love making plans and working towards those things. I I just when I went to grad school, I did a low residency program because I had a kid and I couldn't go to a traditional graduate program. And my grad program was full of people who already had careers. Not many parents, but some people who were parents. Actually, there were not many people with young kids, but there were some people who had like older kids, so they were kind of coming back to it after. One of my best friends in grad school actually was a woman in her 60s who was at that point a grandmother. And Michelle Johnson, I've interviewed her on the podcast. But there was still like some resistance in terms of like some of the things that were talked about that felt like quote unquote art world rules or suggestions for how to be or what to do with your work. And I was asked the question when I started to address motherhood in my work in grad school. I was asked the question, well, like, what are you going to paint about when you're not a mom? And as if
because you
like
stop, right?
well, number one, as if like you stop being a mom, but like number two, like, do you say that to people who are making work about their, I don't know, like being anything else in the world. Like, you know, it just felt like such a ridiculous question that like you wouldn't ask somebody else, that it really got me thinking about like why this narrative exists, that you know, motherhood and parenthood, but specifically motherhood, because women are already underrepresented in the art world, like why there is this block around that. And the podcast started after I finished grad school and was living rurally, so a lot of it has to do with had to do with my geographic location at the time. I was 2 hours from a major city, and just feeling like I had no community. And specifically, the community that I wanted were people who were artists, women artists who had kids, because I just didn't have models, as I mentioned, and just wanting to like figure out how to do this. You know, and the way I think for a lot of us, the way that we find inspiration or the way that we figure out how to get what we want is we learn from others. Like you were talking about reading books, or, you know, we like learn from observation, and we're inspired by other people's lives and by their practices. And of course we always have to find our own path in the end. But, yeah, I just wanted more art friends who had kids in my life. And, you know, specifically keeping it to artists who identify as female and who have children was more of a political decision, just because I felt like, you know, if dads want to talk about being parents in the art world, then they can start a podcast about that. But like, I'm not a dude, and women are underrepresented, and I'm interested in starting a platform where women can speak about their experience. And it's not my job to like make it open, you know, to affluent white men. Like that I wasn't like interested in that. Like I got some of that feedback in the beginning and was like, that's like, I don't need to fill that role.
It's not part
you,
of your journey.
you know?
That's not part of your journey, and this is your space that you're creating.
And it's not my problem that there's not men talking about being a parent artist. Like they're already in a position of power over women. So like, why don't they do that if they want to do that, you know?
Yeah. Start your own podcast and call it whatever you like. I just ran past a trailer. I live in Canada, so so there's a trailer I ran past the other day, and it's literally a podcast called Rigger Talk. So if there's a podcast called Rigger Talk where they talk about oil rigs, I guess, you can start a podcast about artist dads.
Yep.
So there is literally a place for everyone and a lid for every pot. There is no doubt. Like if you're into coin collecting, there's people that are super into coin collecting that you can meet up with or talk to or chat with. And so what year did you start it, Artist Mother?
We started releasing episodes in February of 2019.
2019. Okay, so it is still fairly new, and it's huge then for being so new. So really, there is such a place. There are so many artist mothers who needed support, and who currently need support and community, and you know, that sense of unity. It is so integral. I felt like, and I wasn't a mom like right how I don't know 28, I don't know. But so I had part of my art career before children. And so that time for me was very lonely. And then partway through having children, still very lonely. Again, no examples. The only examples were men, and men who own galleries. And so I had some other Canadian men but it just wasn't the right fit. Like they weren't the right mentor. They were in a different space with a different community, and it was like, how do I do this? And I just kind of went about it, but and found my way. But you know, it's just recently where I have found my fit, and it is so important. I can't express how important it is to find those people who will encourage you and lift you up, because I have had the experiences, and unfortunately it was in male run communities, because they were the only ones, those were the communities, you know, you try to join them and they like fucking tear your work apart, and you're like, this is not a space for me, this is not how I thrive. Like, you bashing my work is not how I thrive. Like, constructive criticism, yes, maybe, but from a person who genuinely knows you, you know, and relates to who you are inside and what you're trying to relay to the world, and or just as for yourself at least too. Yeah, so it is such, oh, it's so lovely to finally have found, you know, the community spaces with females. I'm just loving it, actually.
Thank God for the internet, right?
Yes, yes. And that it's become like so much more recently. Okay, so I want to talk to you also about this subject matter altogether. You teamed up with Thrive. So actually, where I started to find female community was Thrive. So Jamie Smith and Tara. Tara's last name is Tara. Okay, sorry, Tara. Put it in the notes. This is what I told you at the beginning. I was like, I forget names when I start going. Yeah, so they started Thrive, and I'm still in my original Thrive pod. So this is where it all started. And then I met like Penny Lane, and she's an art consultant, sort of mentor, amazing superwoman, basically. And it just like, it's changed so much for me and so many others I know, because many people, you know, we all support each other and use the same sort of connections. So you teamed up with Thrive. So you collaborated with Artist Mother and Thrive with a new, what do you want to call it? Like a new movement. I'm calling it a movement. I've been talking about it a lot. It's a movement, and I think it will grow into something much larger than maybe you anticipate. At TUC, so taking up space. Do you want to chat more about it?
Yeah, so Jamie and I, we've become friends. We were actually introduced through Liesl Strauss, who started Art Girl Rising. And, you know, the three of us like chat often just about our businesses and the ways that we're trying to kind of support women artists. And it's just really nice to have that friendship, because we all kind of are doing our own thing, but we're trying to like support each other in the process. And yeah, like I actually have to credit one of my team members, Robin Kenny, who works for Artist Mother. She's our administrator and does a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But last year at a staff retreat, Robin had the idea for doing a series of like garage shows where people could just kind of do a pop up in their garage. Because, you know, one of the things that artists have really expressed in our Artist Mother community is that they want more support and encouragement for exhibiting their work. Like, they want to know how to get in with a gallery, or how to, you know, do this or do that related to exhibiting. Like, you know, kind of what is the formula for exhibiting my work more. And, you know, I'm a very like anti-formula person.
There is no fucking formula.
Yeah, I'm kind of more a build the system yourself, or let's join together to give each other the support we need, rather than, you know, trying to come up with the perfect right way to do something. Let's just do it ourselves. And so in a conversation with Jamie and Liesl, I just shared, you know, that I really wanted to start this initiative where we just provided support and a timeline for women in our community to have their own exhibition, like, and whatever they needed at the time, like whatever the exhibition needs were for them. Like, if it's, I really want to have a solo show, or I really want to get to know more female artists in my city, or The exhibition could take many forms related to whatever goals the specific person who's choosing to commit to the exhibition had. And when I shared this idea with, and just that like I would kind of host it together as a collective in my community. And when I shared this idea with Liesl and Jamie, of course they were like, it's like, oh my gosh, this is an amazing idea. Like we want to do it too. Like how can we, and so Jamie and I ended up kind of running with it and just met several times and talked about some strategies for, just how do we collaborate and facilitate something for the people in our communities that also we can be a part of and fills a need that we have. Like part of the reason I'm wanting to do Taking Up Space is because I want to exhibit my work and get to know more artist mothers in Fort Wayne. And so I'm doing a group show for mine. Jamie wants to have a solo show this year. And so she's doing a solo show for hers. And so, yeah, we're just kind of, the content, like Jamie and I have written content for January, February, March, April, and then all the exhibitions are supposed to take place in the month of May of 2022. And so we just kind of walk people through like a timeline of steps. Here's a sample press release. Here's, what you should be thinking about in terms of hosting your event. Here's who you should be reaching out to and getting. But the whole point is not that we're putting on something that people are being a part of, but it's that we're just providing the people in our community with tools to do it themselves, right? Like they don't have to rely on our platforms or our permission. We're giving them the opportunity to like take control and really take ownership of exhibiting their work on their own terms and in their own space. We're just doing it as a collective movement because it's like on the same timeline and we're providing support for it. So yeah,
you're sparking energy and you're sparking support, or you're giving support and permission, because some people need permission. Like you can do this. You can do it. And honestly, none of the opportunities that have come my way as an artist have I not asked for or decided to do in the first place. Like no one's going to magically, I mean, sometimes this happens, but it's like the exception. It's not really the rule, but like no one's going to find you on, Instagram and be like, I'm going to collect 30 of your pieces.
Here's $1 million.
Yeah.
Let me show up with a truck and collect all of your work.
And yeah, like it just doesn't. And when that has happened, it's been weird fucking people. I'll tell you what, that weren't the right fit. So you just like, if you want to paint a mural, ask around your like community and the business community downtown or whatever, or the marketing companies that work down there, or do you know someone, this is a great wall, who owns this building, like maybe I should stalk them for a while. Like that's what it takes. It really does. Or getting to know them on social media and approaching and deciding. It really takes your decision, and that's it. And it just and connecting with people, connecting. So I love that you're doing that. It's so exciting. And I honestly think your idea that you had for that, just like, it will grow massively, and I'm so excited and honored to be a part of it. I filled out my form.
Yay! Yeah, what are you doing for your exhibition?
Yeah, so speaking of taking up space and asking for what you want, so at Chris, I stopped doing, I slowed down custom orders because one year I did 130 and I felt like death. So I was burnt out creatively. So this year I'm like, my children still believe in magic, and like this is such a lovely time, and the holidays are so, I don't want to be doing what I did last year. Like I did it. I'm very good at portraiture now. Great. That's the silver lining of that. And so I started making this Taylor collection. She's behind me and all over, just because I wanted to, and it felt so good. Yeah. And then I envisioned it showing through PXP, Contemporary Gallery, with Alicia, and I messaged her. I was like, hey, how do you feel about taking this collection on? It'll be 8 to 10 pieces, small, comparatively to my like 34-piece collections that I do. And she's like, yeah, great. Yeah, let's do it. I was like, really? Okay, cool. All right. Because I took a month and I like started making more. I envisioned it in the first 2 pieces. And this is where it started. I was meeting with my, Sarah Detweiler, SD Artifacts. She has a group, and I like weaseled my way into their paint night group. Bush was there, and so many great female creatives. And one night I was working on this piece by my photographer friend Taylor, and I was like, I don't know, I think I'm gonna stop. And they're like, no, just do some more. I was like, okay. And I did. And then I started seeing it with PXP, and I visualized it for like a month.
Yeah.
And then I asked for it.
Yeah.
And then I joined the network, and you guys are doing this great thing. And I was like, so I messaged Alicia. I was like, can we do it a week earlier so it can fall into May? And she's, of course, said yes. So it kind of all universally came together all at once.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm so excited. It'll be fun. And then my sister has a gallery in her yoga studio. So we're going to have a live opening to really promote the idea of taking up space. And
Awesome.
My sister really wanted to get female creatives in our community. So hopefully some performance involved in the opening. So we want to also, she's like, I want to make it more supportive for females in our community, not just a normal opening, but like, let's make it a little bit extra. So We'll see. It's still up. It'll happen because we do have so many talented people here, and I'm so excited to provide a space and an event and all that. So yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope it goes well. I can't wait to just be connected to see it develop.
Yeah, it should go well. I'm like, okay, so I have like 30 days to finish this now. On top of life. But you know what? Deadlines are great.
Yes.
Deadlines, because you can leave things on walls for a year or two, and you'd be like, I'm not sure the next step. You just have to dive in and go for it. Yeah, so you are doing a group show. Are you working on any body of work or anything personally as a creative right now?
Yeah, I actually have 4 exhibitions this year for 2022.
Only 4, hey?
Only 4. Last year I had none, except I was in 2 very small group shows. So I'm grateful. I really like the seasonal nature of the artist's life. Like, it was nice to have a year last year that was like where I just really leaned into exploration and more like I gave myself a lot more space in the studio. And this year I feel like I'm in some ways reaping the benefits of that sort of like pushing and exploration that happened. And I have a lot of work to like get done for some exhibitions. So I have some textile based work that's currently up in a show in Nashville, and I'm working on a body of work right now for a show that will be in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is where I live. So I'm super excited to have my first exhibition that's actually mine in Fort Wayne. And then this summer I'll be showing in Paducah, Kentucky, and then this fall I'll be showing in North Carolina. So
wow.
I have like a lot of work to make this year, and it feels really good to have the structure of the shows, as you mentioned. Having the deadlines is helpful. And last year, while I did make more work than I thought I would have, I definitely it's nice to like have the structure of working towards a show to put that fire under your butt. So
yeah, get you fired up and ready, like, because you can show up and like I have some emails to answer, so then it is great to have a motivator. So are these all separate exhibitions, like different bodies of work for each?
Well, the show up right now is definitely a separate body of work because it's work that's textile based.
I saw it. It's stunning.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so I've been doing this series of hand quilted pieces, kind of about connecting with my grandmother who passed away about a year and a half ago. And I'll continue to be making that work. The show in Fort Wayne, I actually want to be more of a painting show, but I'll be combining textiles and painting in that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like stitch my canvases together and then stretch them, and then we'll be doing like painting and collage on top of that. Right now I've just been like dyeing and painting raw canvas, and then I'll be cutting it up and making compositions and then stretching it over bars. And it's the first time that I've really been working in that way. I've kind of been taking my time really like dabbling in textiles and quilting and working more with fabric rather than just traditional painting materials. Last year I
don't just
did.
buy a pre-stretched square and go with it. Like you're pushing the boundaries of that.
Yeah. So, so I'm excited to kind of see where it goes. And then probably the other two shows will be a combination, doing some textile work and some painting. I haven't 100% decided on those yet.
Don't you love working on raw canvas?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
it's
do.
like magical. I just can't have it any other way. It's just when it's prepped and whatever, it's just like, it's
No, I
always been a
actually,
disaster
even
for me.
before doing textile work, I had not worked on like pre-purchased like canvas and stuff. I always, my husband like is able to do some woodworking type stuff, so he usually builds my frames and we stretch them raw together. The only time I work on pre-gessoed canvas is if I'm making a really large work that maybe needs to be shipped, just because it's so expensive to ship like large square things, whereas I can just roll something in a tube and the client can stretch it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think maybe I started in art school. They just sold raw canvas, and that's what it was, right? So it was just like, and then you try the other one, and you're like, oh, this is the worst. I don't know how. I mean, not to say if you do, great, good for you. But that's I also don't even like working on it stretched. Like I throw it on the floor and like staple it to the wall, and then it's not like. And like even I just finished a collection in the fall and a solo show. It was the Finn collection because if you can see on my wall behind the Taylor stuff that's him, and so his stuff is really like bold Basquiat-esque sort of.
Yeah.
So I embraced that and I went with it. And he's such an artist. Like it was paint all over. His clothes are all ruined. And every day he is just a rainbow of a person, but mostly black Jiffy, black Jiffy everywhere. Like his hands, he'll do them completely in black Jiffy. It's just,
my gosh,
it's absolutely over the top. So I'm like, this kid needs a whole collection. And it was really cool because we did them in like puzzle piece different shapes, and then I let them title them all. So it's like Bowser and I Like You. And they wanted to name one party till we die. And I was like, let's just cut it off at party. That's
great.
Putting a little bit of creative restrictions on you guys. But it was really fun. Tons of work to make like frame weird. And I couldn't even do it. I had to outsource. We have a home supply building store. I'm saying it wrong. We have a Windsor Plywood. I don't know if you know what that is. In Canada, it's Windsor Plywood. It's like a building company. So the carpenter had to build the frames, and so his stuff is really bold and really cool. So it's
That's awesome.
fun to embrace like a different journey and a different path of like embracing someone's like full, you know, and you could tell like which one Gus made and which one Teddy helped make and which one Finn made, like night and day. It's so
I love that.
cool. Yeah, so it was awesome. But I really liked I just envisioned like we started like this on the wall, and then I was like, let's just cut it and then use all the shapes, and that will be really. And so I had them on the wall for months, and I was like, it's not going to take long to cut those up and put them so much work. Yeah, so don't put things off in that regard. You're like, I see it also. It should take no time. It was basically July and August, me like working in the hot garage, like stapling and building while they like ran out on the streets. Which is fine because again, we have a neighborhood full of kids. So just like stop. But you know what? That's our lives. Like we have to fit it in. We have to make it work. And you will find a way. Like find a way to fit it in, and no matter what. And you have a community that will support that. So if anyone doesn't know how, join Artist Mother or listen to the podcast or just plain old reach out. And I'm sure you're happy to help. I'm happy to help. It's just to stop creating fully just because you're a mother is absolute a disservice to yourself.
Yes, definitely. And, you know, you got to take care of yourself so you can take care of your family, right? So
I always say that you have to, best take care of yourself before you can take care of others. It is such an important message. And creativity for me means equals happiness amongst some like other main things like rest and eating.
Right.
And time for yourself. I'm curious, what do you do to like rest and recharge?
Physical movement is really big for me. So just making sure that I am going for a long walk or going to the gym. I do like a sculpt class twice a week and, you know, do some sort of cardio. I try to do like 3-4 times a week. But yeah, like that is huge. And oftentimes that is like one of the first things to go if like life gets busy and I really notice the effects. Just mentally, actually, I feel so, I feel so much happier when I get those like endorphins from working out and moving my body. So, that is like a big thing for me that I really try to, stay connected to. And it's not about like, losing weight or like body image, but it's about like the space and time and just connecting, you know, with my body and being more in alignment and awareness of the way that I'm physically moving through the world, which is an important thing for artists to be aware of and be connected to. Yeah, and I try to also have like some things in my life that are not related to my identity as an artist. And, you know, just having friends who, like, I have so many Artist Mother friends, and I'm so, so grateful for that community. But also, you know, I'm still just like a person first. And so just making sure that, like, I maintain friendships outside of my work life and my identity as an artist is really important to my mental health. I have a really good friend who we do a lot of reading together. I really like to read as just recreation. And so we do a lot of like buddy reading and just texting about, you know, kind of the next novel that we're going to pick up together, or we'll like binge, you know, a crime podcast together and talk about it.
Nice.
But just trying to have like stuff in my radar that is also just fueling and nourishing me as a person, not just as an artist. I think that's important. Even as somebody who struggles to make time for all of the artwork and all of the work that I want to do, I still feel like I have to make time for
strike a balance.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So yeah, those are kind of some of the things.
I completely agree. Time for self-care is like, for me, I have to every day. It's like in the morning or I'm total grump. just,
Mm-hmm.
mental health, it's so important. And for me, that's, yeah, same, getting moving, and fitting that in. And it's like a meditation too. It's like just a quiet time for your mind and to get away from, everything. And that leaves space for ideas and things that can, spark. Well, I always come up with really great solutions and
Right.
different things. And of course, yeah, like the balance of just like, your relationship with your partner or your friendships.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not all just about, yeah, being this person to other people or
Right.
whatever, right? I think that does get lost. You're like, I'm just a real gal here, just doing
Yep.
the same thing as you are.
Yep.
So it's a great privilege to be that for people, but also you're just a person at the end of the day, and
Yep.
a mom doing her thing,
That's right.
dealing with literal shit. All like,
Yes.
so it is funny, and it takes a lot of work to strike a balance. It's kind of funny. It's like how much work it takes, and boundaries, right?
Yep.
And not, setting yourself up for failure. Like the other day, or I booked 2 podcasts and one day in a meeting all in a row. And I'm like, I can do it. And then that day I was like, we're never doing that again.
Yeah.
That's too much. What were you thinking? You know this.
Yep.
Like, we know. And then that's self-awareness. I was a poop mom for the rest of the day. I was just like, oh my God,
Yep.
stop. Like I was useless. Pizza for supper, okay. And it's
Yes.
just like, so they didn't deserve an exhausted mom that day, but I was. But we should know. And that comes with, organization, etc.
Yes.
But sometimes you're like, I don't want to say no to that person. Do you have a hard time saying no?
I've gotten a lot better at it.
You've gotten good. I think this year I feel like that should be my get better at saying no.
Yeah.
I think I will. I think I don't think it'll be like a thing on me. I think I will actually have to get better at saying no, or things won't
Yeah.
succeed.
I think that's kind of what happened to me was I literally don't have time for everything anymore. Because I already do so much of what I want to do. Like the way that my life is structured is they are things that bring me joy, and there's sometimes new things to add to that pile, but yeah, like I try to be really I've been really trying to be a slower decision maker, because I can make decisions really quick, and just want to jump into something, and I'm trying to take my time with responding to things. It just feels like a better it feels more like self-care, I guess.
That's great advice. I met you today for a reason. We had this for a reason. Okay, so I have a final question for you. It's sponsored by Red Bicycle Communications, and it is called A Day in the Life. I want you to describe your ideal, perfect day, just start to finish. How would you? It could be anywhere. It could be anything.
Okay, so this is an easy question for me because I love, as I mentioned before, just kind of envisioning the future and thinking about the ideal life and all of these things and working towards it. So I think my ideal day is I get up before my family, but the coffee pot is already ready to go, so I don't have to grind the beans and do all that. I don't like getting the coffee ready when I'm the first one up. Usually it's my husband who does it, but so that's all ready to go. I go downstairs, get the coffee going, and I read for 30, 40 minutes. Maybe my kids come down and turn on the TV, which is fine. This is actually what normally happens. But I keep reading a really good book. My kids go to school, and the morning routine goes smoothly, and everyone gets out the door, and then I get to work from home and make art and maybe be in community with people, have some conversations about with people from my community that I love and care about. I would love in the afternoon to collect my kids and go hiking somewhere nearby. We love to be outdoors and hike together, like on a really nice fall day or a spring day. And then I would love to go out to eat with my family at a really good Indian restaurant. Maybe come home and have dessert and wine with my husband and a nice fire and finish back with my book, I think.
Oh, nice.
That's
That's a
like
nice day.
ideal day to
It
me.
is. I take that for sure. And then it sounds like you already have a lot of those things going on. So that's really special that you've, created that world for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was such an honor to meet you and have you here today. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll chat more soon in the future.
Yes, I'm excited, as I mentioned, to see you on the network and can't wait to continue our conversations there. And yeah, just thanks for taking the time to ask and invite me on, Brandy. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Alrighty. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. That was really special, and I hope it inspired you to find a community for yourself, whatever you're interested in. Like, really, there's coin collecting communities, like whatever your interests are, you will find a lid for your pot. I'm gonna let you go. Before that, because I hate to say goodbye. Just another book update. Yes, it's in formatting. So that means within this week, I will start getting it all prepared on Amazon. So I'm thinking like it'll be out in 3 weeks. So stay tuned for that. If you're not a part of our Color Me Happy community on Facebook, you can join up there. The link is in our notes to join. I'll have all that information for you, book release details, New York details. I will not shut up about that because I'm so excited about it. Super scared, but very excited. And speaking of community collaboration, I just worked with 5 women in my local community for a big shoot that I can't talk a whole lot about, but Kristen Hickman was a part of it, and some really amazing women. And I just cried the whole next day and was at a loss for words when we did it. So working together with and collaborating can be so powerful and go beyond what you even imagined it could be. So trust me when I say that you need to find your people. And I will sign out. What I was going to say is I will sign out with this beautiful music by Swear by the Moon, and we will get Megan on as soon as possible. I'll message her right now, so I remember. Megan is a songstress pouring her passion into this music. So check them out. You can find them everywhere where music is available. But I encourage you to support them and actually not just listen to them streaming, but support them and get their album, because streaming, small bands, unless you're freaking, getting 1 million downloads a day, streaming isn't really your bread and butter. So support those small artists. It's so important, because they are what make life rainbow, colorful, happy, and important. And, art is everywhere. Art is in your music, in the movies you watch. It's in the notebook you carry around. It's in someone made all of those things. So let's support those little people in any way we can. Yes, that is great. Thank you to our sponsors, Red Bicycle Communications and Nouveau Laser and Aesthetic Center. And stay out of the sun. That's the biggest one, and wear sunscreen. Don't stay out of the sun. Get outside. That is terrible advice. Get outside so much, but, protect yourself along the way with the right stuff. Your skin is a part of you, and take care of it. Okay, my husband's calling. I really do have to go chatty Cathy over here. Bye.
like a microwave. You're the faint breath coming from a black lung. You sold us and we bought it. And we bought it.
A fallen leaf that falls high above a mighty tree, 'cause she's lonely. A broken promise that was once a determined dream. Everything in me you will see.
Am I the fluorescent that's landing on your fake face?
You can take it all from me.
Am I the wallpaper that you hang when I'm out of style?
I will tear you down, tear you down.
I look suspicious, rip me open like a suitcase.
You can take it all from me.
Destroy the evidence that I ever came this way. And I'll be back again. I'll be back again.
You keep on fighting 'cause it's too hard to let it go. And you remind me of a West Coast overdose. Just treat me gentle and lock me up before you go. And if I should fall, oh my love, you will never know.
And I look expensive and you hang me up like a
You'll
painting.
never know, no, no, no.
And everybody walking by me says the same thing.
I'm bitter and bashful as I hunt for your finger.
If you're an agent for the unaffected underground,
Press them against mine and then I have one again.
you keep quiet or
Oh,
they'll
they'll
make you invisible.
Is that all you want? Is that all you want? Is that all you want from me? Is that all you want? Is that all you want? You can take it all from me. You can take it all from me. You can take it all from me. Is that all you want? You can take it all from me. You can take it all from me. You can take it all from me. Is that all you want? 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 Is that all you want?
If you're looking for some time for yourself to relax, release, and unwind, Oasis has the perfect space for you. They offer yoga and spin classes of all levels. Whether you are a beginner or advanced student, Oasis thrives on accommodating all aspects of the practice. Let their serene environment and gracious staff help you in your journey of peace, healing, and strength. Sign up online at www.oasishotyogastudio.com or by downloading the Oasis Hot Yoga Studio app. Feel like yourself. You deserve it.